Hello, and welcome to this brief overview and tutorial provided for authors participating in Corrosion 2017 in New Orleans. I am Jacob Adams, Symposium Manager in the Technical Activities Department at NACE International. This brief presentation will go over the next steps to submitting and presenting a successful technical paper and presentation for Corrosion 2017. In Part 1, I will go over the important deadlines for authors to note, the available resources for them to submit their technical paper and presentation slides, and troubleshooting tips. I will also provide high-level guidance on preparing for your trip to Corrosion 2017 in New Orleans and authors' responsibilities once they arrive on site at Corrosion 2017. In Part 2, contained in a separate video, we'll finish up with a brief tutorial on the NACE website on how to use the paper trail tool. Part 1 of this presentation should last approximately 15 to 20 minutes. I encourage you to watch the video in its entirety, but please feel free to come back and consult this recording as a reference throughout the process to answer any questions you may have. While NACE staff, such as myself, are available to answer any questions you may have, keep in mind that there are over 600 symposium officers, technical reviewers, and authors that contribute to making Corrosion 2017 a success. Depending on the time of your request, it may be difficult to receive an immediate answer. This video and other resources were created so that NACE volunteers have answers to their most frequently asked questions readily available to them. Chances are you're watching this video because you've received a notification from NACE staff indicating that your abstract was accepted into a technical symposia for Corrosion 2017. Congratulations! You'll want to take some time familiarizing yourself with the NACE website, as much of the work you will complete related to corrosion will occur within the paper trail system on the website. If your abstract has already been accepted and/or you have been involved with NACE in some capacity in the past, you are already in our database. It is extremely important that you use the email address and password that is already associated with your account on file. Do not create a new account. Your abstract submission is already linked to an existing email address, and by creating a new account, it will not get you where you want to be. If you do not know your name or password, please use the Forgot Password link on our website or contact a First Service representative to reset your password. Let's take a moment to briefly go over the important deadlines affiliated with Corrosion 2017. A more detailed list of deadlines can be found on page 2 of the Technical Program Manual. As I previously mentioned, you should have received an acceptance notification of your abstract on or around June 17th. If you have not received an official acceptance email from me, please reach out to confirm that you are a part of the Technical Symposia schedule. The key deadlines that you as an author, speaker, presenter should record in your personal calendars are the draft paper deadline, which is due September 16th of 2016. The finer paper deadline, which is due December 9th, 2016. The deadline to make any changes to the final program before it goes to print is January 16th, 2017. And the presentation slide deadline, which is February 17th, 2017. All of the deadlines listed on this slide are important, and more detail can be found in the Technical Program Manual. I cannot stress enough how important calendar reminders are and how they can be your friend when it comes to preparing a professional presentation. Add calendar reminders now while your schedule permits so you can ensure that you have time in the process. One important element of ensuring your paper is published in the conference proceedings and to secure your spot in the program is the copyright form. All authors that present and publish at Corrosion 2017 must sign the copyright agreement. This agreement can be found on the Bio and Acknowledgement tab of the paper trail system, which I will show you in Part 2 of this presentation. Only the NACE copyright form will be accepted. Company addendums or amendments will not be accepted. Many speakers are presenting content that is considered to be intellectual property of their employer or institution and require additional sign-off. I encourage authors to begin this approval process early. If we do not receive a copyright form by the December deadline, you will be unable to present at Corrosion 2017 and your paper will not be published in the proceedings. There will be no exceptions, so please plan ahead. As you spend July, August, and early September preparing your draft paper, it is imperative that you review the technical program manual. The manual was sent to each of you as an attachment in the email I sent out in late June confirming your accepted abstract. It can also be found in the Resources tab in PaperTrail, which I will show you in part 2 of this presentation. Prior to having the ability to upload your draft paper, you will be required to acknowledge that you read the manual. It is important that you actually read the manual as it outlines the necessary requirements to ensure your paper and presentation meet the branding and style guidelines of NACE International. Before we dig any deeper into the process, I want to highlight some of the changes that will occur with Corrosion 2017. First, the Technical Program Manual has been revised to streamline the requirements for authors to follow for their technical paper and presentation slides. This is to ease the burden on authors in a manner that relaxes the required formatting, yet preserves the Corrosion brand. Second, NACE staff will no longer participate in the review of technical papers. What this means for authors is that there will not be any editorial suggestions with regards to grammar or sentence structure in the review process, so please plan accordingly. And thirdly, subject matter experts will still review papers for technical and scientific accuracy, as well as for author adherence to the technical program manual. Their primary focus will be on technical content and to ensure there are no issues with commercial bias, which includes trade names, company names, logos, etc. in the paper. Reviewers will not be responsible for grammar, sentence structure, or typographical errors. So again, authors, please plan accordingly. In preparation to submit your draft paper, you should first download the Word document template found in the Resources tab of the website. This Word document will already contain the appropriate headers, formatting, margins, and font that meet the guidelines found in the Technical Program Manual. Once your draft paper is ready, you'll need to upload it to the PaperTrail website to be reviewed by a reviewer assigned by the symposium chair. I want to note that reviewers will not be assigned to review papers written by an author that works at their company. This helps to minimize any bias in the review process among coworkers. Reviewers will then be asked to provide feedback in the comment section as seen in the screenshot on this slide. Note, if the comments are extensive, the reviewer may upload a Word document that contains detailed notes and feedback for you as the author to incorporate into your paper revisions. The review process may include several draft revisions before it moves on to the final paper stage. Once the draft paper stage is complete, you may receive additional comments from the symposium chair indicating that your paper is ready to move on to the final paper process. At the final paper stage, your paper should include the feedback offered from the reviewer and symposium chair as appropriate. Your paper should be free of trade names, company names, logos, and commercialism. This means that your paper should not appear as an advertisement for your company, a product, or a service. Any paper found to be in violation of this is at risk of being removed from the program. Papers should include UNS numbers and appropriate citations to avoid any actual or perceived plagiarism. Again, as an author, you're encouraged to review the style requirements outlined in the Technical Program Manual prior to submission. It is very possible that you'll be requested to make some edits to the document before it is ready for upload. Note, in the final paper stage, you must upload your paper as a PDF. This will preserve all formatting of graphs, charts, and images that may be impacted during the upload stage. If you receive an error message when trying to upload, ensure that the document you are trying to upload is a PDF and not a Word document. While I know I already mentioned it, I cannot stress enough how important it is for authors to incorporate feedback from the draft and final paper stages into the process. Authors are responsible for grammatical editing. NACE staff is still available to answer specific questions or to address any concerns that may exist between an author and a reviewer, but there's an emphasis placed on personal accountability in this process. The revised process is to ensure that authors are putting forth their best quality work that they can truly be proud of in publishing with Corrosion 2017. So now for the what-if scenarios. We here at NACE are well aware that each of you who are participating in Corrosion have other personal and professional commitments. We're extremely appreciative of your efforts put forth on behalf of NACE International, and we also understand that sometimes circumstances beyond your control may inhibit you from meeting a deadline. Authors presenting at Corrosion are allowed one extension per conference. If you need an extension for submitting a draft paper, a final paper, or your presentation slides, ensure that you notify your symposium chair at least 10 days in advance. You can do this by clicking the extension request button found in PaperTrail, which I will show you in part 2 of this tutorial. Paper length waivers papers that are greater than 15 pages should not use the extension request button. You must contact your symposium chair directly to request a paper length waiver. The symposium chair must reach out to the ACPC chair for approval. Symposium chairs do not have the authority to approve a paper length extension on their own. Once your final paper has been uploaded as a PDF to the PaperTrail system and approved by your symposium chair, you'll now have the ability to upload your presentation slides. You should plan for your presentation to last for 20 minutes, including question and answer sections. There will be 5 minutes scheduled between each talk to allow time for the presenters to switch places and to bring up the presentation slides on the computer. Authors may not use templates provided by their company that contains company names or logos. Authors should visit the Resources tab to download the PowerPoint template in the PaperTrail system. The template will actually be the template used in this presentation with the purple footer at the bottom. Similar to your paper, your presentation should not contain commercialism. All presentations must be reviewed by the symposium vice chair and will be returned if it's found to contain commercialism. Ensure that you upload your presentation by the stated deadline. Note, if your final presentation contains any video or audio files, you'll need to remove those from the presentation file prior to uploading the presentation to the PaperTrail system, as it will be too large. You can bring your final presentation with the audio and video files to the Speaker Ready Room on site in New Orleans to ensure that the correct version is made available for you in your presentation room. On the right, you'll notice a checklist for your presentation. This checklist can also be found on page 14 of the Technical Program Manual. Please consult this checklist prior to uploading your presentation slides to the PaperTrail system. Throughout this presentation, you've heard me mention the Resources tab found in the PaperTrail system. I will show you a tutorial in part 2 in just a moment that will show you how to access the Resources tab. But on the right, you'll see here a screenshot of what is provided for you for Corrosion 2017. While all of the resources are extremely important and helpful to you during this process, there are several I will stress that you access and review. The first is the must-read 2017 Technical Program Manual. You will be required to acknowledge that you have read this document prior to uploading your draft paper, so it's important that you read this first, even prior to beginning your draft paper. The second document you should really ensure that you review is the Guide to PaperTrail for Authors. This is a guide that will assist you with screenshots on using the PaperTrail system. This is in addition to part 2, which will take you on a step-by-step tour of the PaperTrail system. The third document that you should access is the 1 or 2 author technical paper template or multiple author technical paper template. Depending on your topic and how many authors you have, use the appropriate template as you prepare your draft paper. And lastly, I stress that you use the Corrosion 2017 PPT template. This is your template that you should utilize as you prepare your presentation slides to ensure that you comply with the Technical Program Manual. As I mentioned, all of the documents found in the Resources tab are there to assist you, the author and presenter at Corrosion 2017. If you find that you have a question or concern that is not addressed in one of these resource documents, please do not hesitate to contact me. While technological advancements have made our lives much easier in many ways, we recognize that sometimes there are a few bumps in the road when using technology, and Paper Trail is no exception. I want to briefly touch on some of the issues you may encounter in the system with some quick fixes on how to troubleshoot them. One of the most commonly asked questions relates to issues with uploading your document to the Paper Trail system. More often than not, people have issues uploading documents because the file size is too large. If your Word document or PDF is greater than 10 MB, you will most likely get an error. Please reduce the file size and try to re-upload the document to the system. The second issue is that authors try to upload the wrong file type. During the draft paper stage, your paper must be a Word document. During the final paper stage, your paper must be a PDF. If your paper is not the correct file type, you will be unsuccessful in uploading your document to the Paper Trail system. Secondly, every time you receive a written comment from a symposium chair, vice chair, or reviewer, the Paper Trail system should send you an automatically generated email stating you received feedback, but it does not state where to look. Depending on which stage you are in the process, you'll want to log into the website to access the Paper Trail system and then click on the tab that corresponds to your spot in the process. For example, if you're in the draft stage of the process, you'll want to click on the Draft tab to review feedback. If you've recently submitted your presentation slides and you receive a notification that states you received feedback, you might want to try checking on the Presentation tab in the Paper Trail system. In some instances, you may also receive some sort of error message when attempting to upload a file. This could be due to security settings or firewall restrictions set by your employer or specific browser settings on your computer. This is more likely to happen with our authors that are affiliated with academic institutions or the military, as they tend to have more strict security. Please contact your IT department to resolve the issue or perhaps attempt to access the system from a home computer. While it can be frustrating at times to deal with technology, it's important that you do not email your files directly to symposium chairs, vice chairs, reviewers, or NACE staff. The only way for the progress of your paper and presentation to be tracked are within the Paper Trail system. A string of emails going back and forth can also make it increasingly difficult to track feedback or changes and to ensure that you're meeting the required deadlines. If your files are not uploaded in the system by the set deadlines, you run the risk of having your paper and presentation canceled from the Technical Symposia program. Now, on to some of the details regarding logistics for Corrosion 2017 in New Orleans. Presenting authors, speakers, presenters, whichever you'd like to call yourself, you're provided with a one-day complimentary registration for the day in which you're scheduled to speak. Secondary authors are not entitled to a complimentary registration. Speakers who wish to attend more than one day must register for the entire week. I also want to stress that airfare and hotel accommodations are the responsibility of the speaker. NACE International does not cover any costs for airfare or hotel and is not responsible for making such reservations. For those international speakers that will be traveling to New Orleans for Corrosion 2017 that may require a visa for entrance into the U.S., NACE can provide you with an invitation letter for visa processing. Please note, if you're bringing international guests with you, NACE International is unable to write a letter on their behalf unless they too register as a guest to attend Corrosion 2017 and pay the guest registration fee. Spouses, children, and friends must register as a guest for Corrosion 2017 if they also will need a letter for visa processing. Now, what to do when you're on site in New Orleans. Once you arrive at the convention center, please check in at the registration desk to obtain your badge and program. Once you get settled, locate the speaker ready room and check in with the audiovisual staff to ensure your presentation is uploaded and correct. Note, if you make any changes to the presentation slides, your symposium vice chair must review the slides again before you present, so plan accordingly. The morning you are scheduled to present, there will be a speaker's breakfast that will go over important information. This also provides you with an opportunity to interact with your symposium chair and vice chair as well as fellow presenters. This is a speaker perk that many find to be a great networking opportunity within the profession. Should you have any issues come up on site, please notify your symposium chair or vice chair or NACE staff member such as myself immediately so we can assist you. Lastly, it is crucial that you show up to your symposium room on time. Many of our technical symposia last an entire day, which includes 16 to 17 presentations. It's important that our presenters stick to the schedule as not to delay other presenters. Many attendees come and go to see particular presentations that interest them, so it's important that we stick to the schedule as closely as possible. If you still have any questions after reviewing this presentation and after reviewing all of the resources found in the Resource tab in Paper Trail, please feel free to reach out to your symposium chair or vice chair or myself. My email address is found on this slide, jacob.adams@nace.org. And if you wish to contact your symposium officers, please click on the General tab within the Paper Trail system to obtain their contact information. This concludes the information portion of the presentation. If you wish to view the Paper Trail tutorial, Part 2, please visit nacecorrosion.org website to access the second video of this tutorial for authors.